So a brand new article came out this morning from RNZ titled Digital IDs Are Coming. The article opens by telling us that digital IDs are being hailed as the more efficient approach to identity verification, but that privacy and security concerns mean that many people are hesitant to accept the new technology. The article consults with Paul Spain of Gorilla Technology, the chief executive and self-proclaimed futurist. Paul's bio on the Gorilla Tech website tells us that some of the biggest companies in the world like Microsoft, Intel, HP and Ford bring him to attend events in such locations as the USA, the UK, India, Taiwan and Australia. So what does a tech expert and futurist like Paul have to say about digital ID? Paul says he understands the pushback and is worried that the pace things are moving at is not giving people enough time to fully educate themselves. He's also quoted saying that there are enough examples of how things can go wrong that we shouldn't push people to complete compliance. And while Paul says that giving people an option to opt out is essential, he also had this to say: I know that has some downsides. We don't get the full benefits unless we enact this and enforce it on everyone. But I think that we still get significant upside through giving people that optionality. Let me read that one more time. I know this has some downsides in regard to allowing people to opt out. We don't get the full benefits unless we enact this and enforce it on everyone. When a guy like Paul, CEO of a major tech company and futurist, is saying that, we really have to stop and think, how long will opting out be an option? But at least we're protected by the law, right? The article also consults with lawyer Joe Edwards, a partner at Russell McVeigh Law Firm. He says there aren't any legal issues that immediately stand out, but there are concerns. He's quoted here saying, my initial reaction was as soon as you put anything in the cloud or you store it electronically, you open yourself up to being hacked. Joe goes on to say he doesn't see anything legally wrong with digital ID as long as they remain voluntary. And that seems to be the consistent but big if with digital ID. But probably the comment that Joe made that I have the biggest concern about is this one. He's quoted saying this: now, is it an erosion of rights and privacy? Well, I think everything is an erosion of privacy because your starting point is, it's my information, nobody should have it and know anything about me, but then you wouldn't be able to operate in our society. He goes on to say, so there has to be a little bit of erosion each time in my view. As long as it's done for the right things and it's done in accordance with the law, then it's acceptable. I utterly reject this premise. Sure, to participate in society, there's an exchange of information. In a social setting, we might exchange names, potentially even phone numbers in order to build a relationship. But you don't enter that contract with every single person you encounter. Who you share your information with and how many people you share your information with is completely up to you. And the idea that the erosion of privacy, when done for the right reasons and in line with the law, is acceptable is absolutely wrong. Who gets to decide what the right things and reasons are? And we've seen what's happened countless times when the law is being used by biased and subjective actors. New Zealand's Privacy Commissioner Michael Webster wasn't available for comment, but he did send through some notes. He said that it makes a big difference when and how often organizations are asking for an individual's identity and what they're using it for. He gives the example of buying wine and having to produce your identity to show your age. He says that if it's for something that you want and something that you're choosing to engage in, that he thinks that people are relatively comfortable with that. And I wouldn't disagree. But in this article, the two examples given of digital ID benefits are getting through the airport quickly and buying a bottle of wine with greater ease. We know for a fact that these are not the primary uses of digital ID, and coaxing us into compliance by minimizing the potential and perceived threats is gaslighting at its absolute finest. So the questions are, do you value your privacy? And will you be signing up for digital ID?